I've been working with Infosys for around 2.5 years, but somewhere down the line, I realized that maybe this is not the place I wanted to be in.
What was your salary at that time? Could you just tell that to the audience?
So it was 1.2 lakh per annum. मेरे को 500% हाइक नहीं दी.
Okay, 500% I'm hearing for the first time, honestly. I've heard till 200, 300%, but 500% I'm hearing for the first time. I can only imagine your family का reaction जब 500% आपने बताया होगा.
I got a 300% hike personally.
Just 6 months पहले मैंने रेजिग्नेशन लेटर लिखा हुआ था, लाइक कबर्ड में रखा हुआ था ऑफिस के, एंड लॉक किया हुआ था उसको. और मैं हर 2 दिन बाद सोचता था कि आज मैं रिज़ाइन कर देता हूँ, मेरे से और नहीं हो पाएगा. मतलब मैं डिस्कस करता था अपने घर पे भी और दोस्तों से भी. मीटिंग में होता है तो मेरे सीनियर पूछता है कि तुमने कौन से कॉलेज से पास आउट हो तुम, तो इतना अच्छा कैसे आ गया तुम्हें ये वो सब. तो मैं बोलता हूँ कि आई एम अ सिविल इंजीनियर डिग्री से.
Hi guys! Today we have two very interesting people with us, Ashwin and Abhirami. Both of them have very interesting careers. One is from civil background and one worked in Infosys and then switched to product-based company. Since so many of you are struggling to do the same, I thought it would be very interesting to actually talk to them and understand their career perspective. How did they bring the change that they were looking for? So without wasting any time, let's get started. Abhirami, hi. Could you give us a quick intro of yourself? And I wanted to understand that you were from Infosys, you are from IT background. Why were you looking for a career change, and what is it that you were exactly looking for?
Hi, Katie. So, I started my career with Infosys. So, I've been working with Infosys for around 2.5 years. But somewhere down the line, I realized that, maybe this is not the place I wanted to be in, because out of 2.5 years, like only 4 months I happened to be in a project. So, the remaining 2 years made me realize that, maybe it's not only with Infosys, maybe I wanted to completely shift into a product based domain. Maybe service based companies was what was not working for me.
So basically, rest of the time you were sitting on a bench.
On bench, yes.
Okay. How did it feel?
Yes, I mean, that 2 years really did teach me a lot, because I wouldn't say I wasted all those 2 years. I did something. I mean, I did some self-learning. I tried my best to move out. But since my roots were not very strong, because I am not from a tier 1 or a tier 2 college, so coming from a tier 3 college, since my basics were not very strong enough, it was very difficult for me to build on top of it. So that 2 years made me realize that I wanted much more like of a external support to push me into the place where I wanted to be in.
Got it. And Ashwin, you are from civil background, which is very inspiring for so many people because there are very, very less civil engineers who actually make it good to IT, right? So could you tell us a bit about your story?
I'm passed out from BML Munjal University as a civil engineer. So after that, I took one site engineer job. So there I worked for 6 months. Then I took one certification and took one designing course and did that certification. And after that, I got a placement in Ireland FS. So at that time, I was working, but I thought that here I can see the growth. But that then also I am not able to see that growth which I wanted. So the work was also monotonous there. So every day we have to work the same thing, we are working from first day. So I was frustrated. So I thought that I have to do something.
So, although their stories are so different, one common thing is that both of them were not enjoying their work, they were frustrated, right? And interestingly, Ashwini, you had told me before the podcast that what was your salary at that time? Could you just tell that to the audience?
So it was 1.2 lakh per annum.
So it is hard to survive. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I'm not just saying, but it is a huge thing that he has accomplished to move from there to where he is. The basic point is that both of them did not give up and they kept trying, right? So let's start with you, Ashwin. Being a civil engineer, how did you learn DSA and all, and how did you get into IT?
ओके सो मेरे आसपास सब लोग सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर्स थे. मेरे भैया और मेरे दोस्त तो सब लोग सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर थे. सो आई गॉट मोटिवेटेड फ्रॉम देयर. दे टोल्ड मी टू ट्राई कंप्यूटर साइंस. सो आफ्टर दैट आई वॉज कन्फ्यूज कि कहाँ से करूँ. तो उसी टाइम मेरे कॉलेज के जूनियर था नमन बल्ला. सो ही गॉट प्लेस्ड इन गूगल एंड ही वॉज ओवर यूट्यूब एंड एवरीवेयर. सो मेरे को पता चला कि उसने स्केलर ज्वाइन किया था, तो उसके बाद उसको गूगल में प्लेसमेंट हुआ. So like then researched about Scalar, and then I joined Scalar. So then also it was difficult for me to like it when I wrote my first code in Scalar. So it was difficult. It took me 5 to 6 days to write basic maths code. So at that time, TA helped me, my friend helped me. Like TA invested like 1.5 hour with me to write that code, and like उन्होंने मेरे को like mentor किया कि कैसे लिखना चाहिए तुम्हें code.
So what about you, Abhirami? You moved from service-based company to product-based companies, and there are so many people who want to do that. So can you tell us about your journey?
Absolutely. So, I mean, at some point of time, I felt that no, I was never going to be able to make the change because as years were passing by, it felt more difficult than it was actually. Because 2 years down the line, the first question that is going to pop up is okay, you've been in the industry for 2 years, so what is the sort of impact that you've created, or what is the work you've performed? So, for somebody like me who hasn't worked on anything majorly, like even like the 4 months of project that I had worked on was not something that I could even put on a resume. So, coming from there, I strongly felt that, I wanted some external support to push me out of that place. And that's exactly when I found Scalar as well. So, Scalar being a 1 year program gave me some confidence that, it would be something like an extended college. So, what college was not able to, bridge that gap Scalar will be able to bridge for me. So at that sort of, I mean, like for me, like to be honest, initially I never had the confidence that Scalar is going to be like a breakthrough. It is going to get me to a place where I've always wanted. I mean, to me it was like, okay, maybe let's give it a try. If it works, it works. Otherwise, it's just another thing. So that was the sort of idea that I had while starting with Scalar. But cut down just like one week down the course, and everything changed because like it didn't take too long for me to understand the entire quality of the course because it was like the second or the third class if I remember correctly. So Anshuman basically took a class on consistent hashing. So prior to that, I haven't heard a term called consistent hashing at all. Right. So starting off from there, and that was just one class of like 2.5 hours approximately, and I went literally from 0 to 100 about consistent hashing. So that was the sort of impact that one class could have. So at that point of time, I made up my mind that maybe Scalar is the right place. So at that point, like I broke out of all my like my confidence grew at that point of time, and like I came to the realization that maybe like it's just a matter of time from here on, right? And so having said that, it was like a 1 year course for me because I started from the beginner batch. I had to, because like I had to start from basics. So 6 months down the line, I got my offer from my current organization. So currently I'm working as an SD2 in Zetwork. So this was a referral through Scalar again.
So the common thing that I hear in both of your stories is I think that you needed an external push. Sometimes you really need one person to keep pushing you that you have to do this, you can do this sort of thing. One thing that you guys always keep talking about, all the Scalar students I've seen, the curriculum is so nice, the curriculum is so nice. Is it really that good or is it overhyped? Like what is the curriculum?
Right. So when it comes to the curriculum, so it's very clean, like cut short to what is required for the interviews and what will help you sustain in the industry. So the breakdown of the curriculum is that, so if you're somebody who's coming from, let's say like Ashwin, if you're coming from a non-IT background and you don't know any programming language at all, so they start off with a programming language. So you can choose between either a Java or a Python. So they'll start off with a programming language and then they will move you on to DSE. So once data structures and algorithms is completed, next comes the system design part. So system design part, again, you'll have your high level design and your low level design. So personally, this was one of my favorite modules in Scalar. Again, like, I didn't even know there was something called system design, but later on happened to be my, favorite part of the course. So once system design is over, so next we have the full stack module. So full stack is generally taught using the MERN stack, and as a part of the full stack classes, we usually build out around like 2 to 3 projects as a part of the course itself. So apart from this, so we have like externally like our mentor sessions, like our mentor will be able to help us basically with things like resume building or mock interviews. So all of these things happen as a part of the mentor sessions. So for someone like me coming from a service based background, like who doesn't know what happens, like what is expected from a product based company point of view or what they expect in an interview, I think mentor sessions was extremely helpful because my mentor was from Microsoft. His name was Mr. Purnimish. So he gave me an end to end understanding of what a product based company will demand out of you. So he, during every session or every other session, we used to have mock interviews, and he helped me from start to end, to make that jump from a service based company to a product based company.
That's very interesting because I've seen that when people are trying to switch to a product based company or when they are looking for an IT job, they majorly focus on interview preparation, DSA, system design. But there are very less people who are actually prepared to, what is going to happen when you join a product based company, actually the full stack courses, the full stack projects that you're actually talking about. And I feel that that's a gap that a lot of students face personally. And you also talked about mock interviews, and my channel is known for mock coding interviews. So, can you tell your experience about mock interviews, and are they really helpful? And what did you learn when you faced the mock interviews?
So लाइक जब मैं पहला इंटरव्यू दे रहा था उससे पहले लाइक मैंने अराउंड 7 to 8 मॉक इंटरव्यूज़ ऑलरेडी लाइक दिए हुए थे. तो लाइक इन फर्स्ट इंटरव्यू लाइक आई वाज लाइक मैं ऐसा सोच रहा था कि आई एम प्रिपेयर्ड ऑलरेडी फॉर इंटरव्यूज़. लाइक वो डर नहीं था कि आई एम गिविंग इंटरव्यू फर्स्ट टाइम DS एंड एल्गो का. और तो आई वाज लाइक यस 7-8 बार दिया हुआ है तो अभी भी दे देंगे. तो इट वाज लाइक दैट. सो it is easy for like the main interview.
You actually get used to the pressure to handling the situations. You are used to कि okay now these things can go wrong. I know how to handle these situations. It's very
So
helpful.
structure पता था कि कैसे interview है तो easy था थोड़ा.
Along with mock interviews, you also mentioned that there was resume building sessions. But being from civil and being from service-based company, a lot of people might think that what do you actually write in resume because you don't have something to mention. Then how are you going to build a resume? So how did you deal with that? Because Scalar can get you like company calls, but in the end you have to show something on resume, right? You can't be just like, oh, I know, just take my interview.
Right. So for me, in my case, like I had nothing to put on my resume. Like when I sat down with my mentor to prepare my resume, it was literally like a blank paper because I had no projects to put in there. Because understandable that I was like for so long in bench. So Scalar at that point of time, they were very kind enough to actually give me an opportunity to work with a third-party platform. So I worked with an OTT platform. So this was arranged through Scalar, and this was the project that I actually added to my resume. So an interesting story here is that initially, like because my confidence was very low, and I never had the confidence because OTT platform was too much for me to handle initially, at least because I haven't worked on anything upfront. So suddenly coming up with an OTT platform project was like too overwhelming for me. But so initially I had declined the project because I never had the confidence that I'll be able to do it, and I was feeling a little like if I don't know anything then people will make fun of me. I was feeling like very underconfident. So at that point of time, like Abhimanyu was the one who actually motivated me. So he sat down with me one day. He said like at least give it a try. You are saying no to something even without trying, and this is not going to take you far in the long run. So you give it a try. If you're not able to do it, nobody is going to force you. I was still like, no, I'm not doing. Maybe let me start off with a smaller project, like maybe not in OTT for the first go at least. He was like, no, for me, just give it one try. If you're not okay, then nobody's forcing you. It's fine. You can leave it. We'll look at something else. And then like just for his word, I tried, and very surprisingly, in day one itself, I was able to build something. I was not sitting there without knowing what to do next. So I think that push, because Abhimanyu, like having to mentor like thousands and hundreds of students, he had like, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to like personally sit down with me and give me that push. But I think if it was not for that push that day, I don't think I would have done even half of what I've done today.
That's so nice that co-founder himself is finding the time to personally come and push you, because honestly sometimes we need the push. Now push can come from various resources, but in your case it was Abhimanyu. But I am sure like everyone needs the push in some or the other way. Are TAs and mentors really helpful? Like, is that part really that big as people say it is?
तो मेरा एक्सपीरियंस ऐसा था कि लाइक आई थिंक स्ट्रिंग्स की एरे की क्लास थी, तो लाइक हमारे ग्रुप है स्किलर पे स्लैक पे, तो उधर सब डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि ये वाला क्वेश्चन कैसे करना है, ये वाला क्वेश्चन कैसे करना है, और मैं स्टक था प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग पे। फर्स्ट क्लास थी इंट्रोडक्शन टू प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग, मैं उसके पहले असाइनमेंट के क्वेश्चन पे स्टक था। बेसिक मैथ्स का क्वेश्चन था वो, बट उसका कोड लिखना था मेरे को। तो लाइक मैं बहुत लाइक मेरे को समझ आ रहा था कि को कैसे सॉल्व करना है। एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम की क्वेश्चन समझ आ रहा था कि क्वेश्चन है क्या, और मेरे को ये भी समझ आ रहा था कि सॉल्यूशन क्या है इसका, क्योंकि क्लास में पढ़ा था तो थोड़ा अंडरस्टैंडिंग हो गया था कि कैसे सॉल्व करना है, तो ये समझ आ रहा था सॉल्यूशन क्या है। बट जब मैंने स्केलर का आईडी ही होता है तो उस पर हम सॉल्व करते हैं सब कुछ, तो उस पर जब मैंने सॉल्व करना स्टार्ट किया तो मैंने पाइथन मैंने से पढ़ा था, तो आई वाज लाइक मैं क्या लिखूँ अब, यहाँ पे तो मैं आ गया हूँ कोड लिखने, लाइक पाइथन का आईडी खोल लिया है मैंने, मैं लिखूँ क्या। तो आई वाज लाइक मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा फ्रस्ट्रेट मैं थोड़े मेरे मेंटर ने बोला था कि ट्राई टू गिव 1 आवर फॉर 1 क्वेश्चन, 1 घंटा दो एक क्वेश्चन के लिए तो सॉल्व होगा वो। बट मेरे को यही नहीं पता था कि कोड कैसे लिखना है, फॉर लूप नहीं समझ आ रहा था कि फॉर लूप कैसे लिखना है, इफ़ एल्स कैसे लिखना है, वेरिएबल कैसे लिखना है। पाइथन का लाइक लेक्चर्स पढ़े थे, बट जब असली कोड लिखना है तो तब उतना समझ नहीं आ रहा था। तो आई कॉल्ड माई फ्रेंड कि यार ऐसा ऐसा हो रहा है, मैं कोड नहीं लिख पा रहा हूँ। तो शी सजेस्टेड मी कि इंग्लिश में सारी चीज़ें नोट डाउन करो कि कैसे तुम्हें फर्स्ट पार्ट क्या समझ आ रहा है, सेकंड क्या समझ आ रहा है। वो मैंने किया, उसके बाद भी आई वाज लाइक यार नहीं हो पा रहा है। तो मैं टीए के पास गया, लाइक टीए डैशबोर्ड पे गया, टीए से हेल्प ली। सो ही गेव मी लाइक 1.5 आवर। तो उस दिन मैंने अपना पहला कोड लिखा, और उसने लाइक स्टेप्स बताए मेरे को कि तुम्हें अगर स्टक हो रहे हो किसी भी लैंग्वेज में कभी भी, तो तुम्हें ये बेसिक चीज़ें तुम्हें हमेशा फॉलो करनी है। लाइक स्टेप बाय स्टेप उन लोगों ने मेरे को वो बताया, बहुत टाइम दिया। तो उस दिन से मेरे को थोड़ा थोड़ा चीज़ें लाइक कोडिंग लिखना बेटर हुआ। बट उसके बाद भी थोड़ा दिक्कत होती थी, तो मैं हेल्प ले लेता था किसी से।
आप जब बोल रहे हो ना, मैं एकदम रिलेट कर पा रही हूँ, क्योंकि आपके पास तो खैर टीए थे, फ्रेंड्स थे। तो मैं कॉलेज में जब लिखती थी तो मुझे फॉर इफ एल्स तो आता था, बट जो मैं प्लेसमेंट लेवल के लिए जब प्रिपेयर करी थी मुझे बहुत दिक्कत होती थी। मैं रैंडम लोगों मतलब सीएस के बच्चों को ढूंढती थी कि कोई मेरे को बैठ के ये क्लियर कर पाए। एंड इट हैज़ हैपेंड विथ मी कि मतलब मैं पूरा दिन वेट कर रही हूँ कि रात को मैं किसी सीएस के फ्रेंड को पकड़ूंगी और मैं समझूंगी। तो आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट स्ट्रगल कि यू नो द सोल्यूशन बट यू डोंट नो हाउ टू कन्वर्ट इट इनटू कोड। सो एंड समहाउ यू ऑलवेज रिमेंबर दैट फर्स्ट टाइम, यू नो, कि फर्स्ट टाइम जब हमने लिखा था वो जो हिट किया था कि ओ ये ऐसे लिखेंगे तो चल गया, एंड दैट वो फीलिंग होती है कि चल गया हमारा कोड जो हम स्ट्रगल कर रहे थे। द फर्स्ट टाइम यू फील दैट लेवल ऑफ अकम्पलिशमेंट। तो मुझे आपकी मतलब स्टोरी में बिल्कुल वो फील आ रहा है कि पहली बार कोई बैठा, एंड इट इज़ सो गुड कि यू हैड समवन हु सैट विथ यू फॉर 1.5 आवर्स। बहुत एफर्ट लगता है, और स्पेशली जिसको आता है ना, वो अगर बैठ के 1.5 घंटा कोई बता रहा है कि यू नो वॉट बेसिक चीज़ें ऐसे करो, आई एम श्योर दैट ये मस्ट बी हेल्पिंग सॉल्व वेरी कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रॉब्लम्स। इट नीड्स अ लॉट ऑफ पेशेंस कि समवन सिट्स एंड एक्सप्लेन्स एकदम बेसिक पॉइंट्स। ओनली अ गुड टीचर और समवन विद अ लॉट ऑफ पेशेंस कैन डू इट, एंड आई गेट दैट बिकॉज आई एक्सप्लेन टू एकदम बेसिक वाले स्टूडेंट्स ऑल्सो। सो द लेवल ऑफ टीचिंग वेरीज, सो इट्स ग्रेट दैट you had that help, you know. Otherwise, among a lot of people who are just trying to get into Google and get a very high level job, someone who is starting from ekdam basic, you can be very very underconfident, and it's good that you had that push with you. But I'm sure it couldn't have been all positive. Like you both have taken scalar, but it couldn't have been like, you're motivated all the time. There must have been a hard time, I'm pretty sure. So what was your that, you know, the any moment while you have joined scalar when you were doubtful, when you thought that okay, maybe I did not take a right decision?
Yeah, actually, one thing happened with me. I was like in intermediate batch, so there certain topics like बहुत सारे topics थे जो मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रहे थे. Like I'm trying like समझ आ रहा था कि हो क्या रहा है, but exact like जो मेरे को चाहिए था कि एकदम clear and crisp मेरे को आए चीज़ें समझ, but वो नहीं हो पा रहा था. तो मैंने डिस्कस किया अपने मेंटर के साथ कि मेरे को क्या करना चाहिए. तो ही सजेस्टेड मी कि यू टेक 1 मंथ कोर्स पॉज, 1 मंथ का कोर्स पॉज लो तुम, और जितने भी अभी तक टॉपिक्स तुमने पढ़े हैं वापस तुम उनको गो थ्रू करो, और अच्छे से इस बार थोड़ा गो थ्रू करो, और उसके बाद लाइक Okay.
So the mentor that you're talking about is a scalar mentor itself.
Yeah.
So the scalar mentor told you that you take a pause to catch up, basically. Okay. Oh.
So there's one functionality we can take course pause and we can like resume the course from there only.
Oh, I did not know that. That you can take a pause and then you resume so that you catch up with what you have done so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So course pause के time में like we can't take help from like mentor from dashboard. So but he helped me like personally. So that thing also helped me there. So in that 1 month period, and so when I was joining Express Bees, so I was confused that like should I join or should I not join or should I like give more interviews. So at that time Anshuman sir and Abhimanyu sir helped me that yes, you should join, this is good company, and if something happens we are here with you, like we will help you out again. So there's nothing to worry, you should join.
So even after joining a company, it is fine that, you know, if you're not happy over there, you can come back and the scalar will help you again. So that's what
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
saying.
And so I would like to add on to that Scalar as a course, they're generally very student centric, because any difficulties that you face that you might not feel very comfortable with a particular instructor, or let's say one topic was not very clear, so they take student feedback very seriously. So immediately they change the instructor, or let's say maybe a certain topic, maybe dynamic programming or recursion or backtracking, let's say some topic was very difficult, so they make sure to add on more classes either at the end or immediately after that class, or they add some revision classes for very difficult topics. So they make sure that student feedback is taken seriously.
From both your stories, I can feel that, you know, you have put so much time, effort, energy into, bringing this change to your lives. Now, a lot of people see change in terms of money only. So for them, I want to understand that, you know, if you're comfortable, what was your percentage hike? So that will give them some measure to understand that, okay, did your growth happen or not? And not just in terms of money. For others, if you could talk about, you know, was it worth the time, energy, effort that you invested in? Because I'm sure there's a lot than more that you have talked about, right?
So like मेरे को 500% हाइक मिली थी जब I got placed from Scalar.
Okay, 500% I'm hearing for the first time, honestly. I've heard till 200, 300%, but 500% I'm hearing for the first time. I can only imagine your family का reaction जब 500% आपने बताया होगा. Okay.
So but the thing is जब मैं लाइक सिविल वाली कंपनी में था, लाइक डिज़ाइनिंग वाली कंपनी में था, तो जब मैंने स्केलर ज्वाइन किया तो उससे जस्ट 6 मंथ्स पहले मैंने रेजिग्नेशन लेटर लिखा हुआ था, लाइक कबर्ड में रखा हुआ था ऑफिस के, एंड लॉक किया हुआ था उसको. और मैं हर 2 दिन बाद सोचता था कि आज मैं रिज़ाइन कर देता हूँ, मेरे से और नहीं हो पाएगा. मतलब मैं डिस्कस करता था अपने घर पे भी और दोस्तों से भी, तो वो बोलते थे हाँ रिज़ाइन कर दे. बट उसके साथ मैंने सोचा कि मेरे पास कोई बैकअप प्लान नहीं है. बट अगर मैं अभी रिज़ाइन कर दूंगा, लाइक आई एम नॉट रोमिंग ऐसे हेयर एंड देयर, सो आई एम डूइंग समथिंग. बट नहीं करना था मुझे, तो रिज़ाइन का सोचा मैंने कि रिज़ाइन कर देता हूँ. बट फिर मैंने सोचा कि नहीं, पहले मेरे पास कोई बैकअप होना चाहिए, उसके बाद मेरे को रिज़ाइन करना बेटर रहेगा. तो जैसे ही मेरे को स्केलर लाइक आई थिंक 2 o'clock मैंने फीस पे की थी स्केलर की, एनरोल कर लिया था, मेरे पास क्रेडेंशियल्स आ गए थे. उसके जस्ट 1 hours बाद मैं ऑफिस में ही था उस दिन जिस दिन मैंने एनरोल किया, तो मैंने रेजिग्नेशन लेटर दे दिया कि मेरे को नहीं करना है. देन दे ऑफर्ड मी लाइक ओके सो यू आर इंटरेस्टेड इन सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग. सो समवन टोल्ड देम दैट ही इज़ ज्वाइनिंग सम कोर्स सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर का. So they told me, okay, so we can hire you as a software engineering intern and we will like train you here. So in that company only. So उसके बाद I again talked with my like brother so and friends. So उन्होंने बताया कि 2 नाव में पैर मत रखो, एक ही जगह चलो. और so उसके बाद मैंने सोचा नहीं, मेरे को नहीं करना, मैं पढ़ाई करूँगा, उसके बाद इंटर्नशिप जॉब जो भी होगा वो बाद में देखा जाएगा. आई जस्ट फोकस ऑन स्टडीज़ नाउ. तो मैंने वही किया, मैंने स्टडी पे फोकस किया.
वो आपकी पर्सनल चॉइस थी, बट इट इज़ सच अ गुड थिंग कि, यू नो, आपने वो रेजिग्नेशन किया, वो पुश किया, एंड सडनली यू हैड लाइक अ बैकअप प्लान कि, यू नो, यू कुड एक्चुअली डू इंटर्न ओवर देयर. And a lot of people keep waiting for such an opportunity, and they don't push that. The fact that you kept your resignation letter in the cupboard for so long itself tells. So it is so interesting that we have talked about the push for the writing the first code. Now we are talking about the first resignation also, because I understand the first resignation. I also had like my best friend sitting over there. Ki, it's okay, send the mail, send the mail, send the mail. So you do need like a friend to ki कर ले resign हो जाएगा sort. It's okay. What is the worst that will happen? So it's great that you had that push.
सो मैं आपको एक और इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी बताता हूँ. सो अब मैं लाइक आई एम वर्किंग एज अ फुल स्टैक डेवलपर. सो लाइक मेरे को मज़ा आ रहा है बहुत काम करने में, फ्रंट एंड बैक एंड डेटाबेस एंड ऑल. सो लाइक मेरे को लग रहा है कि अब मैं कुछ कर रहा हूँ, लाइक लॉजिकल कर रहा हूँ, दिमाग लगा रहा हूँ सुबह शाम. अगर मतलब अगर मैं पूरे रात, कभी कभी मैंने किया है कि रात भर भी बैठ के काम किया है, बट मेरे को ऐसा नहीं लगता कि मैं काम कर रहा हूँ. मेरे को लगता है कि ओके सो मज़ा आ रहा है. तो वो चीज़ भी चेंज हुई है, लाइक नॉट खाली मनी वाला पार्ट, ये चीज़ भी चेंज हुई है. नहीं चाहिए था मेरे को मोनोटोनस, तो अभी बेटर है वो चीज़. और लाइक कभी कभी ऐसा होता है कि लाइक मीटिंग में होता है तो मेरे सीनियर पूछता है कि तुमने कौन से कॉलेज से लाइक पास आउट हो तुम, तो इतना अच्छा कैसे आ जाए तुम्हें ये वो सब. तो मैं बोलता हूँ कि आई एम अ सिविल इंजीनियर डिग्री से एंड आई टुक अ कोर्स ऑफ स्केलर.
ऐसे सबका मुंह बंद हो जाता होगा सिविल इंजीनियरिंग सुन के, और फिर सबको ऐसा लगता होगा कि हम भी कर सकते हैं. अब आप लोग दूसरों को इंस्पायर कर रहे हो. अर्लियर यू यूज टू बी लाइक कि we need motivation. Now you are motivating others.
Yeah, so but like मनी इन्वेस्ट किया था, आई नो लाइक मनी इज़ बिग, बट जो रिटर्न था वो बहुत अच्छा था. तो इट इज़ वर्थ टू इन्वेस्ट दैट मनी एंड टाइम एंड लाइक यस, इट इज़ वर्थ.
What about you, Abhirami?
Right. So I got a 300% hike personally. And for me, as Ashwin said, more than the hike, it's about like the sort of environment that it has given me. Because from not doing anything at all for the first 2.5 years to now, I'm like, like being in a startup environment, I've got the opportunity to work on multiple projects from scratch. So salary wise, I've literally gone from like what I got in 1 year, now I'm getting it in a month's time. So I think that is the return of investment that I'm seeing today.
One thing that I would like to add over here for the audience is that a lot of people compare the growth in terms of just money. But from your conversation itself, I could understand that, earlier you were so underconfident, and now that you had this key, now I have people to support me. Even if things don't work out, I am always going to have a push. For you also, while you were very doubtful while joining the company, but then you knew that if this doesn't work out, I still have a backup plan, I have a push, I have a support system basically. So for me, that is a huge factor. Now, wherever people can find that, it's good for them. But you found it in Skiller. It's your story, it's your personal experience, and I highly embrace that. But there are so many people like you who are looking to change from civil to IT background, or from service based company to product based company. So to quickly end this, what is that one tip that you would like to give students who are looking for this kind of change?
Okay, so I'll say that first of all, like skills that matters the most. So skills पे बहुत ज़्यादा focus करना ही चाहिए. like एंड द थिंग इज़ लाइक आई एम फ्रॉम सिविल, सो अगर कोई भी सिविल से और उसको सॉफ्टवेयर में चेंज करना है, तो लाइक मेरे को लगता है डरना नहीं चाहिए बिल्कुल भी कि आप चेंज कर पाओगे कि नहीं कर पाओगे. क्योंकि मेरे को लगता है अगर आप अपना टाइम इन्वेस्ट करोगे, और इफ़ यू लाइक अगर पूरा इन्वेस्ट करोगे ना आप अपना टाइम, और सोचोगे कि उस थॉट को ही नहीं लेकर आना अपने दिमाग में कि मैं सिविल से हूँ या कहाँ से. अगर आप कर रहे हो इन्वेस्ट अपना टाइम, पढ़ाई कर रहे हो, डीएस कर रहे हो, तो उतना उधर ही सोचो. लाइक मेरे दिमाग में भी आती थी चीज़ें कि यार मैं सिविल से हूँ, पता नहीं प्लेसमेंट होगा कि नहीं होगा, क्या नहीं होगा, मैंने कोर्स ले लिया है क्या. तो बट फिर मैं एक 10 मिनट बाद सोचा था यार अभी मैंने कोर्स ले लिया है ना, ठीक है, मैं जस्ट उस पर ही फोकस करता हूँ. मैं नहीं सोचता नेगेटिव चीज़ के बारे में, क्योंकि मेरे को पता है अगर मैं सोचना स्टार्ट करूँगा तो बहुत लंबा जाएगा. तो जस्ट लाइक इन्वेस्ट टाइम ऑन योर स्किल्स एंड डोंट थिंक कि नहीं होगा कुछ भी.
Whenever people ask me that one tip now, I also give this: ki focus on your skills, don't be scared. What is the worst that is going to happen? What about you, Abhirami? What do you think?
So a couple of things from my side would be like is to stay consistent. I mean, because what everybody does is like out of spite they start, but not most of them continue. So what is going to be the breakthrough factor is how consistent you are, right? It's just very similar to going to the gym. The more consistent you are, the faster you'll get your results. And second thing, start as early as possible because there's no good time to start other than just right now. So start early and be consistent. I think those two will get you to where you want to be.
I absolutely love both your advices because being consistent is such an important factor. I've seen that most of the people keep waiting for something that, we are going to start next Monday. Once this happens, once a promotion happens, or once this is going to happen, I'm going to think about what to do. Especially in company change, a lot of people are very scared that, what if I don't get another job? What if this happens? But they don't think about what if it works out? Like, what is the worst that is going to happen? We are in our 20s, we can easily explore and afford to waste the time because it's not exactly wasting, we are investing it to see whether it works out or
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
But I'm sure your journeys have inspired so many people today. So thank you so much for coming and doing this. I am sure there are a lot of people who are going to find this very, very interesting. And as for you guys, if you think that this was helpful and you want to talk to them more, you want to understand about their journey more, if you want to connect with them personally, I'm going to put a link in the description. You can go check it out. There will be also their LinkedIn profile links. You can go check that as well. And I hope you like the video. See you next time.